Progress is going to come through consistency. There is no such thing as perfection. It'll never exist. I don't think it's empowering to want it because it's going to, unfortunately, potentially hold you back. Progress is the way. Progress is everything.
It's the consistency and the quantity. Those little iterative improvements each time. Even though Kev said we've been messing up for 1,600 episodes, there's always some sort of a mess up on each episode. Over time, you just get so good.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed yesterday's episode number 1639. What does current you thank past you for? Alan and I were very, very tired on that episode. Today, for episode number 1640, a common mistake when it comes to consistency. You and I have noticed this very often when people either start tracking habits or they start focusing on really habits, I guess, is probably the best example of this, where someone will say, well, I'm just so afraid that I'm not going to be able to keep up. We hear that very often when it comes to group coaching. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with everything. I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to keep up with my habits. I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to show up perfectly. I'm afraid. And I think the big mistake when it comes to consistency is the assumption that if you are consistent, you must be perfect, when it's quite the opposite. If you are consistent, you don't have to be perfect at all because you're doing it more often than other people are doing it. Imagine, it's a good example of this. Imagine you are an artist, and every day you draw for 20 minutes. So you draw for 20 minutes, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 20 minutes. You set a timer, you sit down, and you just draw. By the end of the year, you have spent whatever it is. Probably 121 hours. That's my guess. 121.5 hours.
Nice work. Holy crap.
Not bad, huh?
Strong work.
Yeah. That's supercomputer up here. You know what I mean?
You just did 20 times 365 divided by 60?
I did 20 times 3. Then you break that. Then you divide that by 365. I think. I don't know how I do it.
Well done.
Certain things they just
121.6.
Pretty good.
You said 121.5, so you're wrong.
100. I'm wrong, yeah. You have 121 and a half hours of practice. Versus imagine if somebody only practiced for 1 hour a week.
52 hours.
52 hours. Imagine if they only practiced for 1 hour a month, but they did it perfectly. They were so motivated. They were inspired. They had the right setting. The sun was in the right place. They ate the right thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Everything was perfect. It doesn't really matter that much because they just are never going to get the reps in to really, really get good at something, to really, really make progress. This podcast is a really good example. We've never had a perfect episode, nor will we ever. We never will. There's no such thing. But we have a lot of reps, a lot of testing, a lot of reflecting, a lot of changing, a lot of trying something new, a lot of reflecting, a lot of doing the same thing, doing different things. That's really the common mistake, is you unfortunately think, well, if I'm going to be consistent, I need to be perfect. And that's where we get stuck. Well, I don't think I can do it for 4 hours every day. You don't have to do it for 4 hours every day. I don't think I can do it when it's raining out. You don't have to do it when it's raining out. You can do it inside. I don't know if I can do it when I have the kids. You don't have to do it the same way you do it without the kids when you do have the kids. You can do it in a completely different way. It's not about doing it perfectly. It's not about doing it optimally. It's about doing it. And doing it looks different. And I think that's another thing that's important about consistency and I think flexibility. If you're somebody who's really flexible, it might not be that hard for you to be consistent. I don't mean physically flexible. I mean organizationally flexible, maybe.
Mentally,
yeah, your personality. That's one of your intangibles. That's one of your attributes. Amy's a really good example. For Amy on the team, her exercise is anything that involves moving her body. It doesn't have to be weight training. It was yoga for a long time. I'm sure it's walk sometimes. Maybe it's ice skating when there's ice. Because if it was, well, I need to do 45 minutes of weight training every single day in order to give myself credit for it, I don't think I can do that. Therefore, you never start. Therefore, you never get consistent at it. Therefore, you never see the results. So if you are the type of person who says, well, I just can't do that consistently because the barrier to entry is too high, remember, if you're doing it consistency, you're digging a deeper hole anyway because you're doing it enough times. So that is my goal, intention with this episode.
One of my favorite books ever of all time is Atomic Habits by James Clear. And there's a chapter where they talk about a study that was done with photographers. There was a photography class, I've talked about this before, where they split the class in half. And there was the quantity group and there was the quality group. And the idea is that the quality group would go out and take the perfect picture. They would come back with one perfect image, with the perfect background, with the perfect lighting, at the perfect time of day, with the perfect editing, and it would be the best photo ever of all time. And they competed with the quantity group. The quantity group was told, take as many pictures as you can, fail forward, just go break some eggs. And then at the end, and I forget the exact parameters, I think they had a day or something, I don't know. But at the end, they compared the best of the 100 photos to and again, I don't know if it's 100 or 1,000, I really don't know the logistics. But I do know that they compared the quantity group with the quality group, and the quantity group, the best photo out of the 100, was way better than the one good photo. And so the analogy here is, if you can be consistent, the cool part is you kind of don't have to be that great. Because you become great through consistency. So, for example, I'm not that strong of a writer naturally. Writing and reading never came super easy to me. Math and science always did. But I've been sharing my blog with a lot of people lately, and it's actually been getting some really good traction on LinkedIn, which is really cool. But I read some of my writing, and it's whoa, especially in comparison to the old days. So I started the Next Level Audio blog, and I started with episode 1, which was blog number 1, and now I'm on blog number 15. Again, quantity versus quality. And I'm reading the audio blog of the first blog that I did, and it's very hard for me to go back because I'm already so much better. But here's the thing, I'm only writing 20 minutes a day. Earlier today, I count editing. So my latest blog number 15, I write, I publish, I edit, Jerry Ann then edits, and then I republish. I'm still editing number 15, even though it's available right now. It's published. And I set the timer for 20 minutes this morning, and I edited it. I'm just going through and improving it. That's all I'm doing. And that counts. Now, my writing has gotten so much better. And so whether it's the photographers in James Clear's book, That Study, or it's me writing 20 minutes a day, the cool part about consistency is that over time you just get ahead. It's the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise always eventually wins. You just get better and better and better and better. And so Kevin and I, we obviously believe in consistency when it comes to podcasting, and we go on these other shows. And it's been really cool to realize that the consistency pays off so much. Because other people, quite frankly, some of them have put more effort into their one episode a week than we do each episode. Now, what I mean by that isn't that we don't have a great production team and we don't have great production value. We do, 100%. What I mean is some of them spend a lot of time making sure every word and every episode is edited perfectly. We don't do a ton of editing on our show. There's a little bit, but not much. My point is, though, is that if you took one of our worst episodes this week and compared it to a new podcaster and their best episode, even if they put 10 hours into editing that, ours would be better. The reason why is because of the quantity. It's the consistency and the quantity. Those little iterative improvements each time. Even though Kev said we've been messing up for 1,600 episodes, there's always some sort of a mess up on each episode. Over time, it just gets, you just get so good. It's like someone who's been playing basketball for 20 years. You just get really, really, really good. And again, we've only been podcasting for 7 years, but the amount of reps that we've put into those 7 years matters. And whether it's exercise or podcasting or whatever it is, I notice that consistency is the superpower that everyone undervalues because it's just so boring. It's just so boring. And there's no way around that. It's just really boring.
You were a gamer. There's now it's a very weird time. So when I say gamer, this is somebody who streams and plays games, PlayStation, whatever, computer games, whatever it is, competitively and makes money doing it. There's some gamers that I like. Just they're funny, they have good personalities, I like them. They stream / play games for anywhere from 6 to 8 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they do. But imagine the amount. So when I play, let's say I play once a month, I suck. I'm not very good. There's no way I'm ever going to be as good as them because I'm not ever going to put that level of time in. Imagine 6 hours a day of playing video games. Imagine how much you're going to know. Your worst day is going to be better than my best day.
Literally. That's exactly
every time.
it.
Every time.
Every time.
You're going to know things I don't. You're going to know everything that I don't. Well, this weapon does this, and this part of the map is this, and oh, there's a cheat code here, and here's this. I'm not going to know any of that because I don't have as much time in. I just don't have as much time in. But they have games that suck, that are... this is kind of it. It's almost like you can't be afraid to do something below your standard because you doing it below your standard for long enough raises your standard and it raises your competence. You might always do it below your standard.
Yeah.
Depending on how high your standards are. But eventually it gets to the point where your standards are so much higher than everybody else's that your bad day is not a bad day for everyone else. Next Level Nation, what is happening? If you've thought to yourself, I want to try coaching, but you don't really know where to start, group coaching would be a wonderful place for you. That's really why we created it in the first place. We start a new round every 90 days. So if you're hearing this, go to the website, nextleveluniverse.com, and we have the landing page where you can actually hold your spot right now. Even if there's a group going on right now, you can still lock your spot for the next one. The biggest thing that we've seen is as we get closer and closer to the date, unfortunately, some people end up missing. The group fills up and they can't do it, and then they end up regretting that. So please head over to the website. The link will be in the show notes, and we would love to see you there. If you're an interior designer, if you're a chef, whatever, you're a dog walker, whatever it is, whatever your dream is, whatever the dream that you're chasing is, if you do it more than anyone else, you're going to know more than anyone else, and you're going to have better results than anybody else doing that. And an easy day for you is going to be very, very impressive to other people because you have so many reps in. So next time you feel like you want to do something perfect, I think one of the things that's helped me over, because that's something I wanted to do. I wanted to do something perfect in the beginning. I wanted the perfect episode. I wanted the perfect interview. I spent hours researching guests before we had them on. And they went well, but I don't know if I ever really lived up to my standard. Even on this episode, I won't live up to my standard. My standard's high. I have a very high standard. I'm okay with it. I don't lose sleep over it. But I always know, I could have done this better. I could have done that better. When I review the show, there's times where I'll be listening to myself talk and I'll say, I hope I say this next. Sometimes I do. Other times I don't. And I say, that would have been a better place. Or what was that? Was I even listening to what Alan was saying? That always happens. Oftentimes I'm below my standard. But my standard is so much higher than it used to be. That's the beauty of consistency. Your standard goes up. It starts as 20 minutes of yoga where 10 minutes in, you're lying on the floor and you're done. And then it's 20 minutes of yoga and you get 11 minutes of active yoga. And then it's 12 minutes, 13, 14. And eventually you get 20. And then after that, every minute you're able to do something a little bit better. And then later it's every minute you're able to do, and then eventually it's 30 minutes maybe. And then the same thing happens. For the first 20 you're good, and then you get tired at 21, and then eventually it's 22. But that's the beauty of it. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. And progress is going to come through consistency. There is no such thing as perfection. It'll never exist. I don't think it's empowering to want it because it's going to, unfortunately, potentially hold you back. Progress. Progress is the way. Progress is everything.
Yeah, perfection's irrational, not good, holds you back, detrimental to your self-worth, detrimental to your self-esteem. Progress is really important. Last piece of this, consistency, if you can master that one word in a given area, you kind of don't have to worry about that thing that much. That's my favorite part of consistency, is when I'm doing, so mobility. It took me, 2023, I didn't do well, my mobility. I haven't missed yet in 2024. And I don't intend on it. The cool part is I just feel flexible all the time. It's almost like it's taken care of now.
Yeah.
Habits are a way of consistently solving problems. So for example, if you want to be in shape, really think about this. If you really could, and I know it's easier, this sounds easy, everything sounds easy, okay? If you could exercise consistently and diet consistently, you would just end up in shape. You would just be pretty much in shape like all the time. Now, are you going to be a professional bodybuilder or Olympic athlete? No, not necessarily, right? That's when you really have to dial up some other stuff. But if you really wanted to be like in better shape than all of your peers, and you wanted to take off your shirt at the beach or be in a bikini and feel good about it, you could consistently exercise and consistently diet. And you would be in better shape than 90% of people. But you'd have to be consistent. You'd have to do it very, very, very consistently. And so I joke with Kev, I've been very consistent in exercise. Emilia and I surpassed 2 years every day recently. But I told Kev, we playfully joke of like, you'd think you'd be in better shape. But the truth is, I just decided not to diet. I just exercise really consistently. And part of the reason why is because now I don't have to diet. Now, I have to if I really want to hit another level. But I'm in like pretty good shape without having to do much else. Just because I hit that one pillar every day,
No.
You can kind of get away with. If you want a new reason to be consistent, you get away with eating what you want. I kind of can eat reasonably what I want because I'm just burning so many calories when I just exercise super, super consistently. They add up. Let's say I burn 250 calories every half hour a day. It's probably a little more than that. And some days it's probably 500. Some days it's probably 200. But it's day after day after day after day. It never misses. So think about how much more I can eat than most people. And then on top of that, I'm building muscle mass. So now I burn more calories. My metabolism is revved because I'm eating more. Now I'm burning even more. You just get the compound effect. I can feel it. It's nice. You don't have to concern yourself. It's not like, it's like one less thing to worry about. It's like, okay, exercise is taken care of. Now, some workouts suck. I talked about being sick on the elliptical, and that's bringing the point of the episode, which is you have to have a minimum that checks the box. I did the elliptical, and that counted. If Emilia and I play soccer this summer, it counts. We play basketball for 30 minutes, it counts. It has to be moving your body, but everything that's moving your body consistently for 30 minutes counts. Walking, Tucker, counts. And if it didn't, there's no way I could ever be consistent for 2 years. No way. And so make the game winnable. It's your game. It's your habit. It's your thing. Make it winnable so that you get the self-esteem from check. We all have had Snapchat streaks before or Fitbit streaks or whatever it is, 10,000 step streaks. When you start the streak, you'll do anything to keep the streak. It's such a cheat code. I'm not going to not exercise because I get to say I've done it for 2 years straight. What are the chances I'm going to miss tonight? There's just no way.
Well, then you got to start a new streak, and there's no.
Then you got to
there's
start
no
a new
way.
streak. There's so much pain associated with starting a new streak, and so just start small. We started with 4 months. I said 4 months. I want to do 4 months. I want to beat my old best 4 months, and then we got to a year, and it was like, okay, now what? And Emilia's like, let's do this forever, and I was like, and that was a moment for me of like, I know you're serious, but do I even want to do that? And then here we are, 2 years. So you just kind of start small and let it build, and eventually you build up a streak, and then the only focus is don't break the streak. Don't break the streak. We went up to 35 minutes a day, and then I told Emilia, we got to can it. We got to go back down to 30. I need a minimum of 30. Sometimes we can do 35. I know at one point I was doing 45-minute workouts every other day, weight training, and I just could not sustain it with everything else going on. So there's a way to be consistent without being perfect. There is, and a lot of the team is doing fitness streaks right now. So that's proof of it. It's not just me. It's not just Kev. There's ways to be consistent. I know you're not with a fitness streak.
No fitness streak for your boy.
But you've had tons of streaks on other stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And so I think you got to pick the things that you want to have a streak on, and it'll build your self-respect so much. It'll build your self-esteem so much. And yeah, sometimes it'll be really hard, but it's better than feeling down and out like you can't keep the promises you make to yourself.
Consistency is not just solving problems in advance, it's preventing certain problems from ever existing. That's really last example. And if you're a dream chaser who's focused on being an entrepreneur in some way, shape, or form, this might resonate and this might be valuable. Many of my clients, the reason they're not making any money with their business is because they haven't done the right things consistently. The reason it doesn't happen right away when they start working with me, or maybe any coach, Alan, you're able to get results very, very quickly, but the reason is it takes time to build that consistency. If you haven't messaged a potential client in 3 years, you're not going to message one and get a client today. It most likely isn't going to happen. But if you were messaging clients for the last 3 years, you may never have to worry about it again. It's just what you do. Well, I spend 20 minutes talking to people a day, and I don't know, I just get clients. No, it's not. I don't know. That's how you do it. That's exactly how you do it. Where on the other end, there's people saying, I don't know why I don't get clients. That's why. Mm-hmm. That's the reason. So I wanted to add that. Next, Level Nation. One of the biggest things holding us back from success is the people we surround ourselves with, unfortunately. Or it's one of the biggest things that helps us achieve success. I wouldn't be where I am without Alan and the amazing team we have and all the mentors we've had and Taryn and all that, the coaches we've had. Alan, the same. Alan has wonderful people in his life as well, many of the same as I have the pleasure of having. If you're looking for more positive people and you just can't figure out where they are, maybe you join Next Level Nation and you haven't had the courage to send somebody a message yet. Next Level Live 2024 is going to have a bunch of positive people. Imagine being in a room where you're not the weird one for liking self-improvement. You're not the weird one for listening to stuff about how to work through your ego or whatever it is, limiting beliefs, all of that. Any room that you're in that's hosted by us, you're not going to be the weird one, and Next Level Live is no exception. We are doing in-person as well as virtual. We would absolutely love to have you there. It's a great opportunity to get outside your comfort zone if you're scared, but it's also a great opportunity to meet people. There's going to be no shortage of growth-minded people there. Link will be in the show notes.
Imagine a world where self-improvement, personal growth, personal development, self-awareness, all of these things, imagine a world where those things are cool. That's what we want NLU to be, where it's cool, it's supported, it's respected, it's admired, it's awesome. So join Next Level Nation and or Next Level Live. Get around more Next Level people. And I want to give a shout out to all the people that have been engaging in Next Level Nation. Kev, there's been some good comments coming through. There's also been a lot of posts. People have been having the courage to post. So if you're listening to this show, have the courage to shout yourself out, post something that is courageous, and it's going to get a lot of love. If it's humble and grateful and growth-minded, it's going to get a lot of love. And so have the courage. We'd love to connect with you, and Kevin and I will give it some love as well.
Definitely. Tomorrow, for episode number 1641, a simple question, a simple, powerful, potentially triggering question, a potentially triggering episode. Do you love yourself? I'm very intrigued to do this episode because I don't think we've done one like that in a minute. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans, we have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Stay consistent. Next Level Nation.